Wait for it. All right. So we are going to start making this coffee cup today. So our first step is to open up a new Onshape document and set up our workspace to have length unit of millimeters. So I'll open up a tab of Onshape, create a new document. What are we building here? Coffee cup. Okay, and then to set the workspace length units, that's on the document menu right here. And workspace units. Here's length units, and we're going to change those to millimeters. And accept. And now we're going to begin a sketch on the front plane. So here's the front plane. Select that. Click sketch. Now we're making a sketch in the front plane. If we push N on the keyboard, it will give us a normal view, so a straight on view. And I'm going to hide the starting off planes. And now I'm ready to start my sketch. Okay, so we're gonna have, says sketch the entities with the line and arc sketch tools as shown. Make sure the line indicated is a construction line. So up here has to be construction. Add a tangent sketch constraint between this line and this arc here as indicated. Okay, so we're gonna make like a horizontal line, vertical line, a horizontal line. I think I'll start up here, come over this way and down and over there, and then up to there. So I'm going to get my line tool, and I'm going to start over here. Click once, and then I'm going to want that to be horizontal, but I want it to also give me this indicator, that yellow orangish indicator, that I'm right above the origin, so that I can click and then come down vertically to the origin. Click. Move over horizontally, but not all the way over to where I get a dotted line lining me up with that. I don't want that. So I'm going to stop short. Make sure I have the horizontal indicator there. And then I'm going to make one more diagonal line, and I'll double click to finish. So there's all the lines that I needed to make. Now I'll get my arc tool, and I'll make an arc. Connect those 2 points. And now it said to make sure it was a tangent to this line. So before I do my third click, I can just move it to where it gets that tangent inference. And if I click right now, then it's going to have that tangent constraint. See, if I hover over here, the tangent constraint pops up. If I go on the tangent constraint, it highlights the arc and the line that it's tangent to. So I just need this construction line up here. All right, so I'm going to select my line tool and the construction geometry button. So they're both lit up. Start on this point and then just go up vertically. And then I am done with this part. And I always, when I'm building a sketch, I'll kind of drag stuff around to see if things move right, such as these two staying tangent right there, and like these points not coming off of the lines and stuff. Okay, next slide. We got some dimensioning to do. So I'll start with this radius right here. This arc is radius of 90. So I'll get my dimension tool, click on the arc, click to place it, and then type in 90. There's my 90 millimeter radius arc. Let's see, 40, this 40 millimeter dimension is measuring from the bottom of the cup up to the end of this little line. So I just need to get that vertical measurement of 40. So I will click on the bottom line, and then I will click on this point, and then click to place that dimension, and it was 40. The overall height of the cup is 100 millimeters, so I can set that dimension just by clicking on this line right here. 100. And we need to do a couple of diameters. And remember, you get a diameter when you click on a construction line and then move to the other side of it. So if we to get the, let's see, it's from the construction line to this point. So if I click on the construction line and then that point, at first it's like, okay, here's the radius, but if I move the mouse to that side of the construction line, now it does a diameter. And that was going to be 125. We also need to have a 75 millimeter diameter on the bottom part here. But watch what happens if I say, all right, the distance between this line and this point is, that says 40, but if I move it over here, it still says 40 because I didn't click on a construction line. So I'm going to hit escape to get out of the dimension tool, and I'll start over by clicking on the construction line and then this point. And now when I come back across over here, it recognizes that was a construction line, so he wants this to be a diameter. All right. So remember, to do diameters, you have to click on the construction line, not just a regular line. So next, we're going to use the offset sketch tool to offset the lines and the arc on the bottom and outside edges here. We're going to offset them 6 millimeters inward. So I am going to click the offset tool. Then I'll click on the arc here, and look, it starts to offset it to the outside. I want it to go to the inside. So I can just click on this little arrow right here, and it'll switch directions. Now I need to click on the other entities that I want to offset. Then, nope. So if you grab, you can like grab and move the little arrow. And sometimes you kind of need to do that to get to where you can reach a spot to put the dimension in. And it was supposed to be 6 millimeters. Okay. But if you notice, I'm going to escape the offset tool. I've already done offsetting. But if you look closely, like this point here doesn't know where to be. It doesn't know where to stop. We want it to stop there, though. And then also, this point down here doesn't know where to be. Doesn't know where to stop, but we want it to stop there. So how can we make it do that? And that's what this slide is saying down here. Be sure the indicated endpoints are coincident to the shown sketch entities. So that's right here. Be sure this vertex is coincident to the vertical line. Be sure this vertex is coincident to the horizontal line. So we need to put some of those constraints. And if you look at the coincident constraint, the keyboard shortcut is the letter I. So I'm just going to use that instead of looking for that button if it's one that I can remember. So the way we do that is we click on the line to select it, click on the point to select that, and then push I on the keyboard and it'll put a coincident constraint on those. Now, if you try to move it, it can't because it knows where it's supposed to be. It has to be on that vertical line. And then we can do the same thing here. We want to select the horizontal line, select that point, and then we can push I to make them coincident. Be sure the sketch is fully defined. Rename the sketch main sketch and then accept it. So everything is fully defined. So we are going to rename this main sketch and then accept it. Okay, what is next? Next, we are going to create a solid revolve feature with the entire sketch profile. So the entire thing, we're making it make this big solid business here. So next, oops, not next. I have to actually do that. So I'm gonna pick Revolve. And then I'm gonna use the whole sketch. And it needs to know what the revolve axis is. So I click in there and then I click on the construction line. That's what we're gonna revolve around. And that looks right. I remember this. We can be like, oh, I can adjust the opacity. Okay, we did that. This should be new part and full. New and full, so we're good. Doodly doo. So next, now we are going to rename part one coffee cup. So instead of part one, right click, rename, coffee cup. Now we're going to create a new sketch on the front plane. So that means we are, we're already finished with the revolve. We're going to create a new sketch on the front plane, and then we're going to rotate normal to the front plane. And I told you we just hit N to do that once we're in the sketch. So I'll just select the front plane right here. I'll make it visible so you can get an idea of where it is. Then I am going to, so I'll select it and then hit sketch. Now that I'm in the sketch, I can push N on the keyboard and it will give me that normal view. Okay, did we miss anything? Nope, we're good. So now we're going to do this. We're going to create this arc and this line and this construction line. And then it says, be sure the line is tangent to the arc. So this line is tangent to this arc. And the midpoint of the construction line is coincident to the center point of the arc. So we just need to make sure the center point of the arc is on that midpoint there. Okay, so we need an arc and a line and a construction line. So I'll start with the arc. And you can kind of just start off making it kind of any old arc. Then I will get my line tool and I will make a line from this endpoint to somewhere on the cup. And then I need to make a construction line. from here over to there. Then a couple things need to happen. I need this arc and this line to be tangent. So I can just select the arc, select the line, and you'll notice the tangent is T on the keyboard. So I'm just going to go to the keyboard, select both of these, and push T on the keyboard. Now I have that tangent constraint. Then I need to make sure that that point is at the midpoint of this. So you can kind of tell if you zoom in, it's not actually on that line at all. So all I'm going to do, and if you look in here, we have a midpoint constraint button. And the instructions say to pre-select the sketch entities and then click the midpoint constraint. So I'm just going to click it right now to get it right showing. So then I'm going to select the point, and I'm going to select the construction line, and then I'm going to click the midpoint button, and then we have that midpoint constraint. So we got the tangent, we got the midpoint. I think we're good with this slide. Now we got to do some dimensions, but first it says show the main sketch and hide the coffee cup part. Okay, so here's the main sketch. I'm going to click on the eyeball to show it, and then the coffee cup, I'm going to click on that eyeball to hide it. So now I've got the main sketch showing and this new sketch that I'm doing. Okay, now it says make the endpoints indicated coincident to the main sketch entities. So this top endpoint is going to be coincident to this arc, and this bottom endpoint is going to be coincident to this line. So if you remember, I was the keyboard shortcut for coincident. So I'm going to select this point and this arc, and then push I. Then I'll select this point and this line, push I. And then I got those two coincident constraints. Then I need to add these dimensions. So the bottom point here is 25 up from the bottom of the cup. So I get my dimension tool, click on bottom of the cup, and then that point. Yeah, it was 25. Okay. What's next? The top point is 85 millimeters up. So that point, and then the bottom line. I already forgot. 85. And we've got a radius of 20. And now the sketch is fully defined. Okay, so we are going to, it is fully defined. Now we're going to rename the sketch path and then accept it. So over here, click, rename it path, then accept. Okay, now we're going to create a new reference plane using the curve point option. So that's one of the options on the plane button here. click plane, and then the options are down here, and we want to do curve point, right? But if we pre-select the things we're going to use and then hit the plane button, it'll automatically pick for us. So if we say, so it says select this end point and this line, and then click the plane button, it should automatically pick curve point. So let's try this. I'm going to select, well, here, let me just tilt a little bit. I'm going to select this point and this segment. Be careful because the midpoint of that segment popped up too. That's not what we want to select. We want to select the end point and that line, and then hit the plane button. And then it shows point normal. Let me zoom out and see if that's what we want. Kind of looks good. But this says curve point. So I wonder if curve point would give us the same plane. Yeah, it would be the same plane. So curve point or point normal. It would be either one of those would give us the right plane. Select the endpoint, accept the new reference plane. Okay. Accept. I accept. Okay. Create a new sketch on the reference plane that we just created. Sketch an ellipse. Add the shown dimensions. So it's 10 high, 14 across. Okay, I am going to select this plane, start a sketch, push N on my keyboard. Then I am going to make this ellipse. So the ellipse tool is down here. And I'm supposed to start it there. So boom, boom. I need to get a little isometric view and see what that looks like. Oops, don't need that circle, push escape. Okay, I think that looks right. So now I need to get the dimensions, 10 high, 14 across. So dimension. So that's the across, so that's 14. And then it's 10 height. And then it says a coincident constraint between the center point of the ellipse and the end point of the path sketch. We already have that because I started it on the center point. But if I hadn't, so say I had just like randomly drawn an ellipse somewhere, then I could just say, all right, I need the center of the ellipse and the end point of that segment, that line segment, to be coincident. And then you just push I. And then it's coincident. All right, next. Next, we're going to rename the sketch profile and then accept that sketch. So rename it profile and accept. Now we're going to create a solid sweep feature. We're going to add the new feature to the coffee cup part by selecting the add option right here and the coffee cup in the merge scope down here. So we are going to push the sweep button. We're going to add, and then in the merge scope, we are going to do the coffee cup. Then choose the profile sketch for the sketch region to sweep and path sketch for the sweep path. So for faces and sketch regions to sweep, we are going to select the profile sketch. Then for the sweep path, click there and then select the path sketch. And now it's going to generate a preview for us, maybe. Maybe not. So we did add, merging with the coffee cup. So now we just accept. Something weird happened. All these disappeared. Where did they all disappear? My sweep. What happened to my sweep? Oh, I need to show the coffee cup again. It's still hidden. Okay. I am also, so now I want to hide this plane because that's annoying. I want to hide the original sketch maybe, or the main sketch, because that's going to get on my nerves. And I'm going to hide these other sketches for a second, just because I want to see how pretty my coffee cup looks. Now we're going to do, be sure the main sketch is showing. So I'm going to go back and make sure my main sketch is showing. There. Create a solid revolve feature to remove the inside of the cup. You just choose the remove option here and select the inside profile of the main sketch, and then it'll cut that out. Okay, so we're going to hit the revolve button. We're going to check on remove. And then I am going to see how it gets that baby highlighted. I am going to click on that. Then the revolve axis, I'm going to select this axis right there. And now we got a preview of it cutting that out. So excellent. Select coffee cup for the merge scope. Make sure we got that. Okay, we're good. Green check button. And I'm going to hide that main sketch again because I don't like looking at it when I'm just trying to look at my coffee cup. To create the rounds on the bottom, select the fillet feature. Put a 12mm radius. Select both the bottom outside and bottom inside edge. So we're going to do a 12mm fillet. So the fillet is here. So I'm going to click. So select one or more edges or faces. Specify the cross section of the fillet. I'm going to push the button, and then it says entities to fillet. I'm going to select that outside ring on the outside. Oh, I'm going to change it to 12 right now, just because I can do that. Let's see. Circular cross section. And then I want to get the inside edge too. And it's kind of hard to see sometimes exactly which one it is, but like maybe I zoom in from the top, get that. And then it gives you a little preview. And it's rounding out the inside, so that's good. That's rounding out the outside, so that's good. and then accept. So now it's got a rounded edge on the outside and a rounded edge on the inside. Ooh, we're going to create rounds on the top. We'll put a 2mm radius fillet on the top two edges. So fillet tool, 2mm. We'll do the inside and the outside. So now you can see we got a little smooth surface to drink from there. And then we're going to make it porcelain. And you're going to check the mass properties. So I will remind you how to make it porcelain. Right click, assign material, and then porcelain. You can change the appearance if you want to. Same menu. And then the last step is to check the mass properties. Let me remind you real quick, because they want the mass in kilograms. So we need to change our workspace units to have mass in kilograms. And then we can select coffee cup, hit the display mass, and then we have all the information here.